Welcome to the TVMusic Network Podcast with Phyllis and Belinda. I'm Belinda.
And I'm Phyllis.
And today we're going to talk about the Academy Awards.
Yeah, the Academy Awards, which is usually an exciting time in Hollywood. Last week, they announced at, good Lord, 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:15 in the morning or something. And it's always something that we always stay up to watch. We make sure that we tune in and listen to see who gets nominated, and then we can discuss the happenings.
Yeah, it was at 5:28. Yes, it was. Yeah. Or 5:21. They do it in two different time frames.
It was 5-something.
Yeah, it was 5-something. They had Tracy Ellis Ross
Mm-hmm.
and Leslie Jordan. They were on, and they were announcing the nominations.
Right.
And they start off where they do this thing where they do like 10 categories, and there's like a break of 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the Academy comes back, and they do the remainder of the 32.
And I don't know how I feel about that. I think it was good, but...
They do that every year.
Yeah, I know. I think it was good, but we watched it online. So that downtime between the breaks was a long interview with a guy who, I don't know, just some expert, movie expert or fan. I'm not exactly sure who he is. But he was giving his thoughts on the nominees, who had been nominated, what they look forward to. And you can tell there was some kind of lull in there where they weren't quite expecting it. I would have preferred if they would have had, like, a past Oscar winner or a past Oscar nominee that could have got up there for, like, 10 minutes or 5 minutes, however long, and talk about how exciting it is, to know if you're going to be nominated, if you remember your first time, whatever. I don't know. I didn't like that little,
Do you think?
lull.
Oh, the other thing I noticed they did this year, I don't recall if it was last year, but I noticed on the official press release, they tell you where you can watch the show and where you can watch the nominations.
Uh-huh.
And they had a special thing where it's going to be on the official Facebook, the official Oscar thing,
Right.
and Good Morning America, or something like
Right.
that. And then they said then the other ones are going to be like online. So I thought no big deal because I watched it on I watched it on the YouTube, official Oscar YouTube.
Uh-huh.
But after they started at 5:35, people were online going, wait a minute. They didn't announce the supporting people on they didn't announce it.
Oh, people missed that.
So people must have missed it because they were watching it online or watching their local affiliates.
Right.
And I know when I watched Sam Rubin over at KTLA, which is here in LA.
A local Channel 5.
Our local Channel
station.
5.
Yeah.
He made a comment and said, here's the nominations that were just announced. I wonder if they were not allowed to screen that part.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
That's my guess. Maybe that was like the exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know it's also on Channel 7. Because usually that morning I take all of it.
ABC, Good Morning America, ABC News Live, and then the Academy's YouTube channel and Facebook, I think, were the official ones that were announcing the nominations.
They did that on purpose to make sure you had to go there to get all the nominees.
Right.
Which I think is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also think those first 8, was it really that serious that you couldn't go online to see who they were if you were not right there?
Right.
Let me rephrase it. That sounds like the first 8 aren't important. It was just that, but I noticed that because I take that every year. So when I went back to watch both of them, they both at 5:30 mentioned, the Oscars are coming up.
Right.
And they announced all the people. And then they came back and said, because usually what happens in that 7-minute gap, you can go to their channel and they're talking about it.
Right.
Who got snubbed, who we didn't see in those categories. Then they come back. But it looks like by going back on my tape, like they didn't go back. So it looks like the exclusive was these first 8, which I know was supporting actor and supporting actress. I know they were definitely in the top 8.
Right.
So people online were like, wait a minute, how are they already naming this? So maybe that's probably what they're going to do.
Right.
So I wonder, should they have had Channel 7? Should they have had Robin? Well, if we were in the East Coast, I guess at that gap time, instead of you probably didn't see them unless you were online. If you were watching it on Robin, on Good Morning America, you probably would have saw them talking about it.
It could be, because I know
They
that...
could have had their commentary. So I guess they probably put the coaster on, too.
Right. I know that they do that to generate excitement, to get people into it, because previous years haven't been as... There hasn't been as much talk, especially during the middle of the pandemic. Yeah. People weren't quite sure how things were going to go. Was it going to be virtual? Was it going to be this? And I did know that Tracy and Leslie, who were doing the nominations, were in separate locations.
Yeah, they were.
So they did it remotely. And they had this, the theme for the Oscars this year, which is being produced by Will Packer, Go Will, is Movie Lovers Unite. So they had movie fans, movie people engaged in it, helping to announce the nominations, which was a little weird, but it still worked, I guess. To announce the nominations, and that was supposed to generate it. So I think there was probably just a little bit confusion as to how it was going to go, and it wasn't quite announced. It seems like all of a sudden it was just like announced, and you go, oh, Tracy and Leslie are going to do it on Tuesday, and you're like, Tuesday? Oh wow, they didn't tell us who was going to do it.
Yeah, they kind of waited kind of late. Yeah, they waited kind of late to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think one thing about Leslie and Tracy, you never know if they're going to have someone. They usually try to get like a comedian. They try to get someone to make it funny, and usually the problem I have with comedians is that they don't know how to pronounce the names. Like, you kind of have an ideal. Like, these are the top.
Once or twice.
These are the top 20 people.
Right.
There's someone, and this chances are, if you're reading 5 nominations, 4 of these 20 are listed here. So learn to pronounce these names. And Tracy and Leslie
write the nomination.
Have the names down.
The pronunciation on the card.
Because a lot of times people are reading. They're reading them. They're saying the names wrong. They don't know whatever. That happened at was that Golden Globe nomination where
they had
Snoop Dogg come out, so he didn't know all the had the names, and
they got him at the last minute because no one else would go.
And only some people could get away with that. There was another time they had another comedian that was saying a bunch of names and they were all wrong and so I was kind of concerned when I first thought, okay, when Leslie came out and he's wearing like a tux, so I thought it was the Oscars. Let me change. And and Tracy's like, oh no, we're doing it from home. I'm like, oh no, the canned
his
jokes.
stick didn't quite work.
I'm like, this isn't gonna work, but it actually worked okay. He had a couple of audio problems with his mic, but that's anytime you're working on something, you never know. But other than that, it worked out fine. So, the power of the dog.
Yeah, speaking
ended up getting 12 nominations. They were the lead,
which was good for it.
Followed by Dune, which is a Warner Brothers legendary film. Power of the Dog is Netflix.
Right.
So Dune got 10. Mm-hmm. And tied for 7 nominations was Belfast and West Side Story.
Yeah. And I really want to give props to West Side Story because that movie is a remake of a very, very famous movie that won all these Academy Awards, that was nominated back in 1960. It's Steven Spielberg as a director who was nominated, his retelling of it. So you always wonder how it's going to be, if people are going to respond to it. And it sounds like it really paid off for the Academy and for him. Mm-hmm. It was fantastic.
Yeah, so the Oscars are going to be taking place Sunday, March 27th at the Dolby. And Hollywood and Highland. But I went to... It seems like it's so soon it seems like before we know it, it's going to be Oscar time.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something. But let's go down the nominees.
I was going to say, I wanted to go back to West Side Story had 7. Belfast, like you had mentioned, had 7. King Richard ended up having 6. Don't Look Up, which was a Netflix one, had 4. Drive My Car and Nightmare Alley, they both had 4. Mm-hmm. So you ready to go to the nominees? Yeah,
it's actually kind of a variety this year. Sometimes it's like one movie and it gets all these nominations, and sometimes there isn't one. Should we start right off with lead actor?
Sure. I just have to go find my...
Actor in a leading role. That one...
I have to go back to my little list. Sorry. Okay, well, yes, I'm ready.
That one you kind of knew, like, there was like a list of 10 guys.
Right.
And you kind of figured which 10 guys were going to get in.
Yeah, no, which there guys had been talk.
They kept naming other people that I just didn't see jumping in there.
Well, what happened was, too, ever since, there wasn't a Golden Globes, there was Critic Choice and all the, critical awards and stuff when all the film societies named their things. And there were some names that always came up. Ever since, ever since the movies have been open, ever since have been released, and go ahead.
So usually around this time when it comes up, there's been a bunch of, stuff that's come up already. So you kind of have an idea. Like the BAFTAs are kind of there, the Golden Globes are there. So you kind of have an idea who's there, who's not.
Right.
There's also a bunch of Q&As already that you've seen, a bunch of people around town.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a bunch of parties, a bunch of stuff. So you kind of have an idea. This year, I kind of felt a little left out.
A little removed, right.
A little removed from it. Now,
Right.
Normally, I know every movie, every person, everything.
Yeah, you're ready.
We've already been to we've already seen half the movies.
Yeah.
And now I feel like this
We've
time
had
I got to see more of them.
Right.
Having conversations. We've already seen them around town. We've seen them different places.
Mm-hmm.
This year it was kind of like you knew all the top people and whatever. And this category didn't surprise me. People said they were very surprised. This category did not surprise me at all. Do you want to read the nominees? You want me to read them?
Sure, I can read them.
Mm-hmm.
So, the nominees for Best Actor in a Leading Role ended up being Javier Bardem in Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith in King Richard, and Denzel Washington in The Tragedy of Macbeth. Congratulations to all these guys. It was a really good category. Really, really solid. Really, really solid. All, I don't know. Are they all first-time nominees? No, I mean all repeat people, and there's one first-time nominee. Andrew.
Yeah, except for Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
And out of the category, Denzel and Harvey are one. They have won.
Yes.
They're past winners.
Yeah.
So Javier, I think he's a fantastic actor.
He is.
And he's always good.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about him, you don't see him a lot. He isn't like one of those actors that every 5 minutes has a movie.
Yeah.
Or you don't see him on every TV show talking about the movie.
It's because he lives in Spain.
I think it's because he lives in Spain. He's not around.
Right.
He's married to Penelope Cruz, and usually sometimes when you get a couple like that, they're, Penelope and Harvey here and that. No, you don't see them running around Hollywood. You don't see them at premieres.
Right.
They have their kids, and you don't, like, she's doing her thing, he's doing that thing. They're a couple. And I think that's what kind of makes it special about him.
Yeah.
It's been a while since he's been nominated, and I think that I'm believing this is his third nomination, but I could be wrong on that.
And
the roles are different. Like he's taking different roles, and you just don't, guess. Some people do like the same type of role. We don't know about it.
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
this is interesting because he's playing Ricky. Well, I should say he's playing Desi Arnaz. Who played Ricky Ricardo.
Yeah.
And I Love Lucy, and it's a biopic about a moment in time in Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball's life in Being the Ricardos. How did you think? I mean, because he's playing a real life person. You saw it. Did you like it?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Before we continue on, Javier, portions of this podcast may contain a few spoilers.
Yes, they might.
So if you're concerned, you may want to pause it or watch it after you've seen the movie.
Right.
Just not all of them, because a lot of movies we have not seen.
Right.
So,
and then I also want to say that portions of this podcast, whatever, we could use some sponsors. If somebody wants to sponsor our podcast, go for it. Just reach out.
Lipton Peach Tea.
Yes, Lipton Peach Tea.
Yeah.
Hostess, Ding Dongs.
Taco Bell. My favorite Twizzlers.
Norms.
Sweetest Fish. Anyway.
Yeah. Red Vines, the official movie candy of the Phyllis Thomas. Phyllis Thomas life.
Anyway. Let's talk about Being the Ricardos.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about it.
One thing about that movie, people were very, very critical of that movie when it was first announced.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And I was right in there.
Yeah.
I was right in there with them because when I saw the casting, and I heard the casting, I love Javier.
Right.
But I was like, I couldn't picture him playing Desi Arnaz.
Yeah, people...
I couldn't picture it.
People,
not that I didn't think he could do it.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying people I Love Lucy. Yeah. They love Lucille Ball in that role. They love Desi Arnaz. And so people feel like you own it.
Yeah.
That's your movie. And so when you find out that it's happening and then someone that you never even pictured was going to play him, you're like, oh my God, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. There was a lot of talk.
A lot of
criticism.
And then when Nicole Kidman
right.
was announced, that's where the most talk came from. Because she didn't look like her in the picture. She didn't look like, all the clips I saw, I kept thinking of the Stepford wife character, which she played.
Uh-huh.
So I thought the same thing, too.
Yeah, and then when they first did trailers and, I don't know, initial screenings or something like that, they didn't really show her. They kind of kept it as a mystery. And somebody goes, wait a minute, we're going to do all this stuff and you're not going to show her? That's not good.
Yeah.
But then they finally did. We saw it. I liked Javier in the role. I thought he was really good. It surprised me at how good of a movie it was. Totally surprised me. There was a little things where I was just like, they didn't really need to do it that way. There were parts of it that, subject parts that they probably shouldn't have done, and I was just like, But for the performances, I was okay with it.
Yeah. The movie's very misleading.
Right.
It's called Being the Ricardos. So when you think of the Ricardos, you think of Ricky and Lucy from the TV show.
Right.
And the way the movie is spelled out, the way they're advertising it, let's say that. You're advertising it, you think you're going to see them, they're going to be on the Lucy set, they're going to be so you're going to see Lucy running around, with the chocolates, and you're going to be seeing, Josh switching and all that.
Yeah.
So you think all of that. And then when you watch, so then I think they started telling you weren't going to see that.
Right.
And I think they only told you that. I'm only guessing. I don't have any insight on this. I think they started telling you that because people were comparing how they look. Right. I can't see her doing this comedy. Really I can't see him pulling off the instrumentation. I can't see them pulling off the accents. So then they started telling you, going, oh, it's not about the show. They're Desi and Lucy.
Right.
Desi and Lucille. And they're playing them. We're going to show them, but we're not showing all these skits in the Lucy show.
It's behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's behind the scenes
of the television.
Making of the television show.
Yeah, so for 1 week. It went from table read to live air in front of an audience on Friday night.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is, to let you know. But I think that's what's misleading. So, but when you watch their performances, see who they are. They're playing Desi and Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing Desi and Lucy going to work as Desi and Lucy to play Ricky and Ricardos. And that's why I think it's called Being the Ricardos.
Right.
So, but starting with Javier, I thought his acting was great. I read somewhere people were saying they thought he was too old for the part or to play.
Yeah, I could see that.
To play the age range that he has to play in this movie.
Yeah.
And I could see that, but I thought he did fine.
Yeah, I thought he did great.
He mentioned on TV that he doesn't play the instruments or sing, but Ricky, we know, is a band leader, and they had him there doing the singing and whatever. Mm-hmm. And Ricky's Cuban, I think Javier is Spain.
Right.
Because I saw an article, a whole entire interview with him on Stephen Late Night, where he talked about it, and it was on for like 20-some minutes, and I really got like a little insights to hear him, what he was saying about it and different stuff. But I thought he did great.
Yeah,
I thought he did really great. Good. I thought he was spot on. I'm glad he got nominated, because after a while, Nicole was getting a lot of the attention, and there wasn't that much about him, so people think he was going to slip in there. I was concerned he wasn't. Right. That was it. Now, Nicole Kidman.
Wait. We should go to actor and supporting role.
Sorry. So that's how I feel about Javier. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. No, it's okay.
We'll get to Nicole when we get there.
Yeah.
So I thought he was great.
Right.
Benedict Cumberbatch, Andrew Garfield, I'm happy they got nominated, especially Andrew Garfield, because he's never been nominated before.
Right.
I like people to be nominated before. And he's playing a real-life person, too.
Right.
He's playing, Jonathan Larson, who was the creator of Rent, TikTok Boo, he's playing that. Then we have Will Smith, who's also playing a real-life person.
Right.
He's playing King Richard, which is Serena and Venus's
Williams,
father.
Yeah.
He's playing Richard Williams. So that's another real-life person. And then we have Denzel, who was broke a record now. He is the most nominated Afro-American actor. And Denzel's always great. I'm a big fan of Denzel's.
Right.
Denzel can do no wrong in my book.
And I would be surprised
this is his ninth nomination
if he
now?
wasn't. I want to feel like it's
I think it's his ninth now. I know he has 2 wins. It's his ninth nomination.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure, I know he has 2. Should have about 5, but we won't go there. That's another podcast. Just look at the IMDb if you want to know. But
actor in a supporting role.
Oh, we're not saying how we're feeling yet? No, you know what we'll do? We're not going to say how we're feeling yet. We'll do a small rig at the end, but then when closer to the Oscars, we'll come back with another podcast, and then we'll say how we're thinking of who's going to take it on home.
Yeah. And I want to do that only because it'll give me more time to
see all the movies. That's true.
Yeah, because there's some.
That's true. We shouldn't be unfair.
And say that Will Smith's going to win. When we haven't seen Mr. Cumberbatch's work yet. Go ahead. Yeah, exactly. So then, supporting performance by an actor in a supporting role were Kieran Himes in Belfast, Troy Kotsur in Coda, Jesse Plemons in The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons in Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith-McPhee in The Power of the Dog.
Power of the Dog's taking over.
Yeah. With those 12 nominations, I feel like, I don't know how many of them, just like everybody who had like a major part in the movie got nominated, which I thought was great. So they got 2 here, and then Benedict. Good for them.
Yeah, very good for them. They're doing really, really good.
Right.
J.K. Simmons. Okay, I said this before the nominations came out. There's always a couple of people using the supporting category, usually older.
Surprise and sneak.
You don't hear about a lot, and they slip in and take away a nomination. And it happened with supporting actor and actress. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. But looking at the actors, J.K. Simmons was one.
Right.
Early on, he was on a few lists, and it kind of died out. It kind of died away and all this, too. So when he got nominated, people were like, oh, a surprise. I was happy he got nominated because I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah,
I
wasn't surprised by his nomination because he had won before.
Yeah,
he's playing. And then again, it's the Lucy factor. Yeah, there's iconic people. Some of the Academy, voters were thinking, "Wow, he pulled off this great performance. He looks like him. He sounds like him. He's acting like him." So yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah, and sometimes the supporting people get kind of left off sometime when it's like a strong lead and whatever. But I was glad I thought he was fantastic.
Right.
Doing Merckx. Looks nothing like him, but the way they did his character and his makeup, and they reinvented what you want to see in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was great.
Then we have Best Actress.
Wait, there's a guy, the guy who's deaf in real life.
Oh, the Troy Kotsur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a very interesting. He's like the first nominee. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Curious to know I was very I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm very, very curious to see that, to see that whole thing, because every now and then they'll have someone like they had last year with the sound with Sounds of Meadow, and here's this guy. I'm kind of curious how that's going to play in to it. I mean, we've seen it happen before in other movies and stuff, but I'm very curious to see how this is going to play.
Coda is available on Apple, so people can watch. We
have Apple, so we'll be watching.
It's about, life of a deaf family. Marlee Matlin's in it, previous Oscar winner, stuff which is, fantastic. So, if you get a chance, you should see it. And I should probably mention that The Power of the Dog is on Netflix, so people can get a chance to see that. Being the Ricardos is on Prime Video, so people can see some of these movies that, have these great performances.
And the TikTok Boom.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Tick, Tick, Boom is on Netflix as well.
So there's quite a few. So if you haven't started, get busy.
You got a
little month, and it's going to go very fast.
Right.
Thinking myself, I got to get busy.
Best performance by an actress in a leading role: Jessica Chastain, Isa Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman, The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz, Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman, Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer.
Where do we start?
No, I'm like, congratulations to all 5 women.
Yeah, let's start with the positives. Congratulations to all 5 women.
What are the negatives?
Oh, sorry.
No, you said let's start with the positives. I'm like, I don't see.
Let me rephrase myself.
Yeah, you probably should, because it's sounding mean.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. Congratulations to all 5 of the nominees.
Yeah.
Everyone has been nominated before, except for Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
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 And Olivia's won. Penelope's won. Nicole's won.
Right.
So the only 2 that haven't won is Jessica and Kristen. This category was probably the most anticipated, in my opinion, because and usually it's the opposite. There's usually so many men,
right.
Not a lot of women. This time there was so many women.
There were a lot of women
so
to
many
choose
lead
from.
women to choose from.
Right.
There was so many to choose from. This went back and forth, and I remember saying the night before I went to sleep, the only person I think that's guaranteed to actually get this nomination was Nicole Kidman, because everybody else had gone back and forth between different critics and charts and whatever. And people get really upset about critics and all that. But people don't understand, the critics aren't the voters. Like, critics are just the ones that are watching the movie, saying their opinion, who they think, whatever else too. It's great. You need critic responses.
They keep the buzz going.
Yeah, and you need critics.
The Oscar season,
You need critics too, but the actual people that vote is the acting branch, of the Academy. So when people come up and there's like snubs or anything else, there's always tons of snubs and all this too. And I think that's what a lot of people get confused by.
Right.
But one of the major surprise, I was very, very surprised that Lady Gaga did not get nominated.
Oh, yeah, for House of Gucci.
That's for House of Gucci, because that is she's one performer that has been nominated in every single, every award,
on every single critics
every
list,
award, every critics list, pretty much. And she's the only one now with the BAFTAs that got nominated, like SAG, BAFTA, Golden Globe, Real Awards, Critics' Choice. She's the only one now, because a lot of the other ladies have been getting left off in one or the other.
Right.
But she's technically the only one. So she was one that I thought was a shoo-in. But then I was looking at one of my favorite critics I like to read had said that morning, even Lady Gaga's not a shoo-in. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was right. She was not a shoo-in. I was very, very surprised. I know that was a big uproar online that she wasn't nominated. People were very upset about it and
surprised.
And very, very surprised. And on the other half, there's some that said, there's so many ladies. Maybe she was number 6. Maybe she was number 7. We don't really know where the numbering go, but unfortunately, there only can be 5, and the top 5 get the vote.
Right.
I was the reason why I said about let's start the positive. I wasn't trying to cut the actresses down because they haven't seen all the actresses work yet. Uh-huh. Once I've seen all 5 actresses work, then I will go back and revisit it when we do our second podcast. But I was very disappointed that Jennifer Hudson didn't get nominated.
Right.
I was rooting for her since they started making this movie.
Right.
I've been rooting for her before the movie got delayed. And technically, the movie should have came out for last year's Oscar ceremony. Not this year, but it got pushed back as everything else with the pandemic.
Right.
And they released the movie, and I was very, very excited about it. And very happy.
She gave a fantastic performance. And the thing that's funny about it is that when we went to go see the movie, there might have been 12 people in the theater, maybe 12 or something. We actually went out in the heat of the pandemic to go out and see this movie with 2 masks on, the whole 9 yards. And it was a fantastic performance. I thought the movie was good. And I think that it just lost a little steam from when it got nominated and when it got released between when she got nominated.
Yeah. They pushed it back, and I think it probably would have helped if it had came out in December.
Right.
And not in August.
Because
a lot of times came out. Or maybe they should have went with November. Bring it out November 12th, November 15th or whatever.
Right.
Because by the time people started voting, it was already out on DVD.
Right.
Which sometimes helps, a lot of times it helps, especially when everybody's staying in the house, it helps. And Jennifer is a producer of the movie as well, and she was everywhere from that movie. And
right.
She had a campaign that I haven't never seen before, and I thought, well, she's going to get the nomination for actress. In fact, when the movie first came out, and I saw her performance, I was like, well, there's one of the 5 spots. I was like, she's going to get it. No way. But I think another thing that hurt it too, and I think we talked about this in previous podcasts, is Genius.
Oh,
Genius,
yes.
Which is the
Cynthia Erivo played.
The Cynthia Erivo miniseries.
Yeah, that aired on Nat Geo. I believe it's airing now on Hulu.
Yeah.
You can certainly watch it. And her Emmy-nominated performance kind of clashed because they showed the same... I feel like they featured the same highlights in Aretha's life. And...
Which they would, yeah.
Yeah. They didn't quite use the same songs.
Oh, yeah, because the first movie... Yeah, that movie Yeah, I think originally the movie was supposed to come out first.
Right.
And then you get this 8-page miniseries or whatever.
Yeah, it was like 8 hours.
8-hour miniseries. And a lot of people I've talked to, a lot of people said they really liked the miniseries, but they liked the movie because you got 8 hours, where the movie you only got 2 hours.
Right, so you couldn't show everything.
You couldn't show everything. And I was the opposite. I liked the movie better than I liked the miniseries.
Right.
And I think it was why, because I liked Jennifer's performance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I liked her performance. She convinced me she was Aretha Franklin. And Aretha Franklin, like I said, Aretha Franklin's one that I've known her my whole life. My mom, our mom's favorite singer, female piece, Aretha Franklin. I think I know everything about Aretha Franklin. You know, I read her account with my mom, know all the songs, everything. My whole life has been Aretha Franklin. So when I saw Jennifer's performance, it just echoed me so much Aretha Franklin. The way she moved, the way she talked, the way she would pronounce words, the way she would sing the songs, whatever else too.
Yeah.
What I saw, as opposed to Genius, I didn't see. And Cynthia was great in the movie.
Right.
If that was a movie where she was playing just a singer, you know, it was great.
Right.
Her playing Aretha, it didn't catch me. Mm-hmm. You know, it didn't catch me. The accent, the singing, the movements, the arrangements.
Right.
So I think that's what kind of hurt it. So I was disappointed.
Right.
But as it got closer and closer to it, and I was like, she's not getting the critic thing. She's not getting, you know, the thing. She got the SAG nominations. We had SAG coming up. And she got Independent Spirit, NAACP. And I thought, okay, we're back. Then I thought, well, if she doesn't get it, maybe she'll get it for the song, because her and Carole King wrote a beautiful song, original song for the movie, and then that got snubbed as well. I was already for J to get her 2 nominations for song and for music, which Mary J got in the past and Cynthia got in the past. I'm like, well, don't take away my thing. Yeah,
Leslie Odom Jr.
Yeah, Leslie Odom Jr. got last year. One of my favorite performances last year, as I probably mentioned on the podcast.
But you know what?
And then again, I'm one who I like biopics.
You
all
like
people, especially when they're music ones. I'm all in. I know more about it than I need to know. It's probably not healthy to know that much about it, but I was like in every little detail of it.
Yeah.
So
but she's got her Oscar at home.
Yeah, she's got it
already.
So that's why I stated, like, let's start the positive, because I didn't want to think, and if it came out wrong, that's why.
Okay, well then, speaking of positives, there was a couple of things I wanted to say. The Eyes of Tammy Faye. It's where Jessica Chastain's playing a real life person. It's a biopic. Yeah. There's Being the Ricardos, where Nicole Kidman is playing a real life person. And then there is Spencer, where Kristen Stewart's playing a real life person. Congratulations to Kristen Stewart. I feel like her campaign was like the little engine who could. Everybody was like, when they first showed pictures of her as her, like when she was first cast, everybody's like, Kristen Stewart? Really? And so then when she first got cast, people were like, oh, I could kind of see it. This is really good. And then as the movie started to come out, it's very controversial, story-wise, and the way that it was played. But I believe it's from the same director who did, I can't remember the movie. The Jacqueline Kennedy movie. Yeah. Jackie.
And that's exactly what I thought of. That arrangement, everything. I'm like, this is... Then I'm like, it reminds me so much of the Jackie O story, Natalie Portman.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I find out it's the same guy. I'm like, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. So it's one of the things where she didn't get the SAG nomination.
And that could have helped, too.
Yeah.
Because a big uproar started when she didn't get the SAG nomination, too. But she won all kind of critic awards. She has got so many critics.
I think almost every critic award that was there, she had got nominated for it. And I'm like, good for her, because it didn't seem like it was going to happen. But then here she is in this category with women who have won before, women who their name's going to be on an Oscar list at some point. Oh yeah. They know they know the whole thing. They know the routine. They know whatever. And she's like the freshman or the young girl coming in and saying, here I am. I thought it's kind of cool to have a younger person than these ladies in that category. Olivia Colman, she just always wins stuff. Everybody knows who she is. And then I think she's popular too because of The Crown. Yeah. There's all that stuff going on. Penelope Cruz, which I thought was fantastic. She has her nomination this year. It's the same time and same year that Javier is nominated. So they can go together.
Yeah, they can go together. Yeah,
she can be like.
I was surprised by Penelope Cruz. I don't know much about the movie. I want to see it. I don't know much about the movie, but I know in this movie, it is with subtitles, right? She's speaking Spanish,
Pedro Almodovar.
whatever. Yeah, I'm sure it's Pedro. I'm pretty sure it's Pedro. And I think those movies work best for her when she's doing her native language than when she's doing the English translation of films. This is my opinion. Love her to death, sweet girl, but that's my opinion when I see movies about her. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see this movie. I'm curious to see her acting style. When she got nominated, I think this is her third nomination. Not the one she won for, but when she was nominated years ago for a movie, and it was in with subtitles, and I thought she was fantastic. It was Pedro's movie too. I can't remember the name offhand. It was at least 10 years ago or so. But
was
since
it
then,
Mother?
It may have been that. Maybe it was called. That maybe it was called. And I thought she was great. And before that, I never thought of her. Oh my God, I got to see Penelope Cruz and her acting style. But I was really impressed to see her. So I think that's what it is. It's what it's kind of like she's in her native language. It's a stronger performance than when I see it. So I'm very curious to see it.
Yeah, and then Nicole Kidman, very very convincing as Lucy. I was very surprised that she was good. She sounded like her. Sounds like she was really working on getting the the husky voice and stuff. So, congratulations to all of them.
I thought, we were talking about what I was going to say earlier about Nicole. I thought she was good. Mm-hmm. Half of it reminded me of Lucy, and half of it reminded me of when she played the Bewitched role. And I know it sounds probably weird because those two roles are completely different. But certain parts, watching it, I was like, I see Lucy. And then other parts, I think it may have been when they would do the parts when she was on set playing Lucy, didn't remind me of her. But when there was sets of her, like with Desi, off stage, they're talking about their life and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And maybe because I don't know that much about Lucy's life. I mean, everybody knows Lucy's story, but maybe because I don't see a lot of footage of Lucy's life at that age. Yeah. When you start seeing Lucy's footage, you see the thing from the show.
Right.
And you see when she started the TV show when she was older and she had her own TV show. Maybe that's why.
Maybe.
But I can't really...
Well, I think one thing about it, too, Lucy Arnaz and Desi Arnaz Jr.
Yeah, they were producers of it.
Both producers on it. And Lucy liked it. She said, they did her parents very well. She was very, prized. And I think people are just, like I said earlier, people are just going to be overly critical because you feel like you've owned Lucy. You've seen her. Those reruns, those things have been aired millions of times. CBS makes at least, they said at least $10 million a year just on the residuals from Lucy.
Yeah.
So,
my biggest pet peeves when they do these biopics and their families are nowhere to be found.
I know.
So with Lucy and her brother, Desi Jr., being, consultants or producers, going to the set, meeting with Nicole, liking they like the performance between the mom and the dad.
Right.
And you know what? I'm okay with it because they're okay with it.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the moment you want when you see them in there because Renee Zellweger last year won for Judy. I thought she was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And then I saw an interview with, her daughter, and I didn't see live. It was Lorna, who said they weren't going to watch it. They weren't consulted. Yeah. They weren't. They weren't anything with it. And I thought, that really, I have a thing with that. I know you disagree. And I know families can come and they can take over.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I don't have as big a problem with it as you do.
As I do, yeah.
They're public figures.
Yeah.
It's part of the business. It would be nice if families can could get consults in and all that kind of stuff, but it kind of has to start with that person from the beginning.
Yeah.
And if it's a little known person, like if you think of, I don't want to use Judy as an example because I don't know all the behind the scenes and stuff of it, but it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
MGM wants to tell a story,
yeah.
or a person who wrote the book wants to tell a story, or it's based on a book, but the book isn't written by, the family member or, the person themselves. So, I mean, it happens. I see both sides, and I see why you don't like it, but...
I don't like it.
I know. see why you don't like it, but sometimes that person is too close to it.
Yeah, that's
sometimes
true. That's true.
That it works or it may not work or something like that. And of course, it's their truth and they have every right to do it. But like I said, if that person's a public figure and this person has something in the mind of how they want to do it, hey.
Yeah, so Lorna was going to say, I know Liza, I didn't see her saying it. I saw Lorna like in an interview.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Liza made some comments like, you know, this isn't the story I know, and this isn't whatever too, and all that. And I know part of it too could be because she was portrayed in a lot of negative light in this movie too.
Well, yeah, no one.
So
wants
I can
to
see no one wants to see their family member alive, but I think.
And then to me too,
mm-hmm.
a lot of it, Liza was like 17 in the pictures that they show, 16.
And Liza's
17.
in the movie. They had to put her in the movie.
She's in the movie. She's like 16 or 17, but then when they did her life in London, they did all this other stuff. They did her marriage. Liza wasn't there in a lot of those scenes. She was, you know, doing her own career, starting her own thing. So it's hard. Like I wouldn't want to see a movie about my parents and all this stuff, and I would feel too attached or too emotional to it. But I just figure if you're playing, these people are playing real life people, and they're doing their artist interpretation of blah blah blah. So I mean, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I decided I had to explain it again.
Okay, so I'm not. So basically, if there's a life story of Belinda Thomas,
yes,
and I'm no longer here,
and Tracy Ellis Ross will be playing me in the Belinda Thomas
can you
story.
please go down there and make sure that Queen Latifah has the correct information to portray
that she
me?
knows. Yes,
You need to go.
Will,
You
that
need
is
to
my
bust,
promise to
you. need to bust in the door. Get
the Belinda Bonita
Gary
Thomas
Gray, whoever's doing this movie, or some unknown guy from the UK, and you need to bust in there and say, you know, I know you're doing a movie on my sister and whatever else, but I got to talk to the Queen. Well, I take it the Queen would be playing me. It could be someone else.
Yeah, it'll be the Queen.
It'll be Queen Latifah.
Yeah, I think so.
They could afford her. Well, anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
They may not be able to afford her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so it might be another actress playing me, but can you at least go down there?
Yes.
And talk to me, and then if
Kristen Stewart to be playing
if
me.
there's just no, if there Kristen would not be playing me. Come on.
Yeah. No.
If there's nobody, Zoe Saldana, so I'll be playing it anyway, regardless of who it is.
Zendaya, Lisa Belinda.
Zendaya would be playing me either. But anyway, no.
Yeah, because Halle Berry wants Zendaya to play her daughter. Everybody wants Zendaya for a part.
Well, we know who's playing you.
Tracy Ellis Ross.
No, that's who you want to play you. It's going to be CCH Pounder.
Tracy Ellis Ross.
Okay, all right. Well, if it's CCH Pounder.
Or Marianne Jean-Baptiste.
Or Marianne Jean-Baptiste. Both people we have seen at award shows who thought that you were them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at the People's Choice Awards, and we go out to the bathroom, and this girl was like, "Oh, I just met CCH Pounder." And I think I was showing CCH Pounder at the time. And I was like, "Oh, CCH Pounder! Oh, I want to see her next to you because everyone thinks you look like her."
I was in the bathroom. And then it hit
you were outside with you. I was with. Right now, it was you. I'm like, "Oh, where's CCH Pounder?"
I would take all compliments.
I'm waiting to see her. Okay, but if it's Tracy Ellis Ross, I will give my way to Tracy. And tell her that you really don't care. Be like, Tracy, I know you really don't care.
Yeah, spice it up. Make me seem more interesting than I really am.
My sister would not care, Tracy. However, you're playing her, and there's some actress playing me in 2 lines. So I need to make sure you know what's correct about our family.
Oh, God.
And Tracy be like, all right, talk to the writers. And I'll be on the run. The writers will be like, can you please get this woman off our set?
Yeah,
we can't get things done because we got this woman up here
she
with 2
wants
lines.
to rewrite the whole thing.
And then I'll go to the screening.
Yeah.
And then I'll be cut. My part will be cut, and then you'll still be there. And I'll be still there with my little pen and paper Anyway, and I'm sure that's another thing that's got to be hard for the Spencer movie. I'm sure that's got to be another thing hard because Princess Diana and a public figure and all that stuff. That's got to be probably
tragic
hard and weighing on that too, you know. But the same thing with Jessica Chastain, you know. Wait, The Lost Daughter, is that based on someone? Okay, so we might have everybody. It might be the year of the biopic.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well, let's move on to...
Right. Let's go to actress in a supporting role.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter. Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. Judi Dench for Belfast. Kirsten Dunst in The Power of the Dog. And Anjanine, I apologize. Anjanine Ellis, I don't know how to pronounce it, in King Richard.
You know, I had it right into my tongue until we got there.
Maybe Anjanu?
Yeah. That's a good category.
Yeah.
That's another
very solid category.
That's another good category. I just remember something I left out in one of the other categories.
No, there were some people they said that were left out.
There were some people that were talking about left out. One of the supporting actor was Jared Leto. Everyone thought for sure Jared Leto was going to get up for his drive-by in House of Gucci. Not a supporting role, a drive-by in House of Gucci. And that didn't happen. He got a couple critic ones, and that didn't.
Well, the main thing is he was unrecognizable when I first saw him.
That's the whole point.
That's him. That's Jared Leto. But what happened, I think, was the makeup and the hairstyling, the costuming overshadowed the performance.
Yeah.
That got nominated.
Yeah, that did get nominated. That was their nomination.
Right.
They thought for sure. Everyone thought for sure three: her, Gaga, him, and then the makeup person. And then it would be the makeup person, no Gaga, no Jared. And I'm used to Jared looking different. He looked different in last year's movie he did with Denzel and
but this
Rami
was
Malek.
Different.
And then he looked completely different when he played. And I think I'm the only person that saw this movie when he played the Chapter 27. When he played the John Lennon's
I don't even know what that is.
The Killer of John Lennon with Lindsay Lohan. That movie, he completely looked different. But we won't mention that. I'm not giving
okay, let's skip it because I don't even know what that is.
That's okay because I'm not mentioning the killer's name.
All right.
Anyway, it's called Chapter 27.
All right.
So that's what they do. But this category, Judy was a surprise. Like I said, there's always a surprise person that pops up.
Yeah.
Did not see Judy coming.
It shouldn't have been a surprise, is the thing. Belfast, the Kenneth Branagh movie, and it's set, I guess at the time where Kenneth was a younger child, or it seems like it appears to be a life story of him like when he was a child. Mm-hmm. Judy's already won before. Yep. We know how she is, and she's the girl. Then Jessie Buckley, who I loved. We were talking about the Judy.
Yeah, I love her Judy.
That Renee won. Renee Zellweger was.
She was great, and Judy, Judy could have put a nomination on that one.
Jessie Buckley was good.
So I was glad that she got in there. Yeah, she got in the Lost Daughter because usually it carries one. So we got Olivia and then her.
Yeah. And
they're playing the same character, just in different ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that's a good, to see when both people could get up for the same, role like that. And Kristen Dunst, Kristen for Power of the Dog.
Yeah.
She's nominated. Her fiance's nominated.
Yeah, so which is very cool.
I saw her with the two of them together.
It would have been kind of sad. I don't want to say sad because that sounds wrong. If the whole cast got nominated and then she didn't.
It happens.
I know it happens, but I was just happy.
It ain't fun. It ain't pretty, but it happens.
Yeah. But I was just happy that she was there. She's been acting since she was a child. So it was nice for her to get her recognition, or her flowers, as people say. Yep. The one thing that I did want to mention was West Side Story.
Yes.
And Ariana DeBose's nomination as Anita in West Side Story. That's the same role that Rita Moreno won. And so it would be very exciting to see if she wins in that supporting role category for West Side Story, and that's the same one as Rita. I think that would be history making.
Oh yeah, that would be history making. A lot of people thought Rita was going to get nominated for the new role they created for her.
Right.
So they really thought that was going to happen. Her being this, but that would be interesting if the fact that they're nominated for the same remake.
Right.
And then,
exactly.
They both were nominated for that. That'd be good. And then. So Judy's in Belfast. Everyone thought that the nomination was going to go to
some of the girls in passing.
The Outlander.
Oh, Katrina Bell?
Everyone predicted her over Judy. Everyone predicted that she was going to get it. She was going to be, and they ended up going with Judy. So that was interesting.
Right.
Other snubs, the cast of Passing, the two ladies, Ruth Negga. Everyone thought for sure Ruth Negga was taking one. Tessa Thompson. Okay. Ruth, they thought so for sure. Tessa, I wasn't sure because that lead category was so stacked.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be, it's going to be I was thinking that it's going to be either Jennifer or Penelope over Tessa, and it went with Penelope. So then you got, but I was then with the King Richard thing, you got Will Smith. Now we have, so I kind of like the dynamic that it wasn't just one person. It was kind of like, here's that, there's the husband, there's the supporting person.
Yeah.
There's that, the lead actor and supporting actor or actress. So I thought that was good. So that supporting category is going to be an interesting one too.
Yeah.
It's going to be very...
It's pretty stacked.
Yeah, it's another one. And those are a couple of names I heard. There's more names too. People were really guessing a whole bunch of different names. And that was so that acting category is going to be something.
Yeah.
It's one thing I kind of like about it. It doesn't seem like... sometimes there's a category and it's so, exactly who's going to win. You know everything already, who's going to win, what's going to happen, whatever. I think this year there's going to be some surprises. And I think some surprises are going to be because there isn't all the 5,000 ads and 5,000 events. And, you're looking at it from a different lens. I was talking to a friend of mine online who was saying, oh, well, I'm usually behind all these movies, and I usually go by what you say or what you post because you're going to this event or that event, and I feel like I'm catching up. And I was talking to a friend of mine online the other night, and she was like, what about this one? And I was like, what? I said, no, it's like a whole different ball game. There isn't events. There isn't so-and-so. Everything's like virtual and whatever. We were just getting out of the house. And so I was like, I feel out of touch. She said, oh, well, I really feel out of touch. And I was like, well, this is what I see. This is what you should see. And I kind of see that difference there,
Right.
We take advantage because we live in L.A. Or we take advantage if you live in, New York and London. You take advantage of those cities. And I feel like I've been taking advantage of it. And now I'm like, oh, I got to hurry and get caught up. I only got 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things, too. Best animation feature of the year?
Oh, you want to do animation?
Best animated? Yeah, I'm going down my list here. Best animated... Oh, I'm sorry. Is your list different than my list?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Best animated feature film of the year.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
You want me? It's Encanto,
Mm-hmm.
Encanto,
Mm-hmm.
Flea, Luca, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. I want to say that this is a pretty good, pretty solid category and stuff as well. Encanto, very cute, all about family, people, were into it. Lin Moore Miranda did the songs for it, so his name is, synonymous in putting them up. The one song is nominated for Best Original Song, which I thought was fantastic. Flea is a documentary that's animated. Let's see, Luca. Luca was cute. It was one movie that I felt like a lot of people saying it was on Disney Plus. It's still there. Like it could have been released in theaters. Mm-hmm. And it might have done pretty well. Mitchells versus the Machines. Mm-hmm. A lot of critics love that movie. And I think that one, is about family as well. And Raya and the Last Dragon, another Disney movie that I think did pretty well. So good for them. I was going to jump to director.
Okay. Let's do it.
And costume design.
Yeah, you can jump anywhere you want. Well, there's 32 categories. We're not going to go down every single one of them. But as we get closer to it, as we get closer to the ceremony, we'll come back and name some of the other ones. But we're just going through the I shouldn't say the major categories because that sounds like one category.
We're doing the most talked about.
Yeah, director,
some of the most talked about
picture, music.
Yeah.
All right.
Costume.
Just let me know where you want to go next. You going directing?
No, I'm going to costume.
Costumes. I'm here.
Okay. Outstanding achievement in costume design went to Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, Nightmare Alley, and West Side Story.
Yeah.
Again, these I've been, peeking at some of like the sketches and all the things for it, and I looked at costume design, which is one of my favorite categories. One of the things I do every year at FIDM, the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising downtown in LA. They should be doing their costume exhibit again. I want to say it's like 2 weeks before the Oscars. Sometime around March. I'll have to find it and make sure that it's up and that people know about it. But they'll be featuring some of these. Cruella, if you just look at the colorism and things for it, it just stands out. That movie is playing on Disney Plus now if anybody wants to see it. Oh, and I should say, Luca's on Disney Plus, Raya and the Last Dragon's on Disney Plus, Encanto's on Disney Plus. So people should, watch those. Mitchell's versus Machines, I believe, is on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
But people would have to double check on that.
Has there always been that many Disney ones nominated?
Yeah. There's always been pretty much.
Okay, but usually they usually win. They usually just one like Coco and so and so. So I was wondering if there were always that many.
Yeah,
okay.
Those are all Disney movies. There's still always only been one before they made their own category. Beauty and the Beast. One of my favorite movies of all time, even though it's animated. The way they told that story originally, that's the only animated feature that was nominated for Best Picture. And after that, they created its own category for it. But that movie was everything, and no animated movie I've seen since then has lived up to that one. But it was really good. That's what I want to say about animation.
Okay.
Let's see. Did I do costumes?
You were talking about that. And
yes.
You were
and
talking
then
about
you mentioned
Cruella.
about Disney. Yeah. Cruella was good. And just imagine West Side Story, the 50s.
Yeah.
And the movie won already. Everybody likes the costumes in West Side Story with Anita's dress from 1960, Bernardo's suit from 1960, Maria's outfit. Everybody knows those costumes are iconic. So they had to remember what the original movie did and then change it slightly. And then, which I don't think people really remember, is that West Side Story was a musical too. That was on Broadway, had a lot of things. So there's always a lot of, you want to keep it fresh, you want to make it different, you don't want to veer from the original design too much, because then you lose the concept of the story. So I just think for it to get a nomination in costume design was fantastic. Directing, let's see, we have Belfast with Kenneth Branagh, Drive My Car by Yusuke Hamaguchi.
Yeah, Hamaguchi.
Licorice Pizza, Paul Thomas Anderson, The Power of the Dog, Jane Campion, and West Side Story, Steven Spielberg. One thing about that too, Jane Campion, you go girl. The directing category is always one. They need to nominate more women. There have been so many women that have been snubbed in that category. Namely, I keep thinking of Barbra Streisand. For Yentl.
Your girl Barbara.
Yes, that movie was up for all kinds of awards. It did so many things, and yes, she didn't get nominated for directing.
Because the movie directed itself.
That happens a lot.
It happens a lot, yeah.
Yeah, but then the fact that it
always happens,
so many
it always happens to these,
Yeah, it was bad. But Jane Campion, she was nominated before. She's probably the only woman to have 2 nominations.
Yeah.
In the 75-year history,
it's not many
70-year history, I don't even know what number we're on now, of the Academy Awards, and she wasn't nominated. Well, her movie got 12 nominations. And if history serves anything, then she should probably get it, but you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, whoever wins, the Directors Guild Award will probably get it. I don't know.
Does Kenneth Branagh already have an Oscar?
He has nominations.
Nomination? Okay, I'm not sure if he won an Oscar.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm bad. I should have been better prepared for this. But
sorry, it's a question I just asked you offhand.
That's okay. But he's certainly been nominated before.
We know he's been nominated.
Hamlet.
I want to say he was nominated for writing too.
Yeah, he was nominated for Hamlet. For gosh, I can't remember. But he has been nominated. This might be his 4th or 5th nomination. You might have to look that up.
I get him mixed up sometime with I shouldn't say the name because I want to. I get him mixed up. Anyway, continue.
Okay. I'm not going to mention a whole bunch of...
I'll look it up and then I'll see if I was right or not.
A whole bunch of people.
I don't want to say the wrong person and then I go, oh, wait a minute, is it the right
okay.
The right person or whatever?
Okay. I'm curious to know who you're thinking of. I did want to give a shout out though to one of the nominations for Best Documentary Feature, The Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised.
Yes, yes.
By Questlove, Amir Questlove Thompson. From The Roots, from Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. He found He found this documentary. He loves music. I think he loves music probably more than you do, which I'm so shocked by. But he put together this documentary that's full of like history, full of like soul music. It was like the Black Woodstock. Yes. At this time, this big festival happened in New York, and it was hardly documented, hardly recognized. He put this footage, put the movie out. It was like fantastic. So I was very happy to see that he was nominated.
When they first announced it, I was like, this is going to be something. And anyone who knows me personally, I did so much for it. I should have been on that publicity team. I was telling so many people about this movie.
That is true.
Go see it. I was posting this, posting that, posting this on all across social media. Someone even sent me a personal message and said, oh, I'm so happy your movie's out and whatever. I was like, what movie? I said, no, I didn't work on this. I guess I did so much work on it.
Yeah, you did.
From doing PR, people just assumed that I was part of this team or something.
Right.
I might as well have been because I was all over that. I was so happy when he got nominated for that because that just should have been up for Best Picture. I mean, he just did such a good job.
I feel like he could have been up for Best Picture.
Yeah, if you have not seen it, you should see it.
It's on Hulu
and
Disney Plus.
And if you are, even if you don't know a lot about that music of the time, or even if you don't like a lot of music of the time, you still can enjoy it.
Yeah,
and just watch it. It's a documentary. It's very rare. So you see this footage you have never seen before. I mean, how many times have you seen footage of Nina Simone?
Right.
And to see a clip there that you've never seen before. I mean, Gladys Knight and the Pips. I've seen 1,000 clips. I mean, so you see these clips and you watch it, and it's so raw where there's like footage that you'll see, and then it'll go to something else. So if you're watching, it doesn't follow a story. It's all about this one day. I can go on and on, but it's really something you should watch. And just the fact they had footage of David Ruffin of the Temptations. Yes. I've never seen it before. I'm like, how am I not seeing this before? Mm-hmm. Just when you think you have seen every single clip and every single music of something, I watched that, and there was so many clips I hadn't seen. And then to think that they found this footage in somebody's grandson's attic. It was this guy's grandson. It was in his attic. It was one of those still on the same reel and all that. And then Questlove said he wanted to do it. I forgot how many years he said he took to do it. And that was just great. So the answer, to jump back for 1 second, Kenneth Branagh has been nominated 8 times. They won an Academy Award. And I was correct. And I thought I was getting him confused, but he is the one that was married to Emma Thompson. I didn't say it.
Oh.
Because I didn't want to.
I knew that.
I didn't want to say it, and then it wasn't. It's like, no, he's not married to her. So he is. So I know a lot of his work. Okay. And I'm very curious to know too about Belfast.
And he has Death of the Nile.
That's out now.
Yeah, that's out now.
Number 1 movie in the country.
With the Peter Owen and the mustache.
Number 1 movie in the country right now is by him.
Right.
So that is. So I didn't want to say if it wasn't him, but that is who he is. I'm very, very curious about Belfast, and I have to talk to Vivian Campbell of Def Leppard. I got to find out because Vivian Campbell from Def Leppard is from Belfast. That's how I've heard of Belfast. That's how I know about everything else. When this movie came out, I thought, holy cow, that's where Vivian's from. They're actually doing this movie. So I'm curious to know. I got an email. I'm curious to know the dynamics of it, how close it is, what he thinks, if he has seen,
Right.
Just usually you don't see a movie about certain. Then you see movies about London. They're about Dublin. So they're about Chicago. To see a city.
Parasite was in Korea.
Yeah, so to see that city, it's kind of struck me. I'm like, I gotta know more about this.
Well, we should probably get 2 more. Speaking of
but
Belfast,
that's why I piqued my curiosity too.
Okay. So speaking of Belfast, there is nominations for music written for a motion picture, original song. We have Be Alive from King Richard, which one of the writers is Beyonce Knowles Carter. We have Dos Agunitas from Encanto by music and lyrics by Lin Moore Miranda. Down to Joy from Belfast, and the music and lyrics is by Van Morrison. No Time to Die from No Time to Die. which is written by Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell, and then Somehow You Do from 4 Good Days, written by Diane Warren. Now, the music category is very interesting as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There was so many songs on that when they put the eligibility list out.
Yeah,
they do every
do
year.
15.
They do, this is songs or whatever, and usually you get them and you know about 3 or 4 of them. This time it was like every single song, every single artist, everyone's involved in this. It was like a whole new dynamic of what was going to happen, what wasn't going to happen. Lin Moore Miranda, if he wins an Oscar, will get the ETOG. He's not got it yet. So I think he...
And the ETOG is when you have won an Oscar, a Tony, a Grammy, and what else?
An Emmy,
yeah.
So I think he's going to be going hard. I think he's going to be going in hard on this. His people's going to be going in, trying to get to that last step or whatever.
And the thing about it is, and I say this with love, Dos Arigatos is not even his best song.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's true.
Yeah, he has a lot of songs where I'm like, oh my God, he should have won already.
That happens.
Yeah.
That happens. And then Van Morrison, that's a song from Belfast. I don't see Van Morrison doing a big campaign. Maybe his people will, whatever else too. Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas, they both got nominated for No Time to Die, which is a James Bond theme. James Bond themes usually win.
Right.
Smith won, Adele won.
Right.
So right there, just a lot of hype around these James Bond movies.
Right.
And then Diane Warren.
Yes, Diane.
Who's up for the 13th time,
Go Diane.
She's up for Somehow You Do. It's from 4 Good Days, the movie. Reba McEntire is the one who sing the song on it. It hasn't got a lot of attention like the other times she's been nominated, and it could only be because we've been in the house. I think I've seen her on a couple appearances online.
Right.
You don't usually get the, let's go out, whatever. Now it's kind of weird because Diane's nominated and we haven't seen her. Usually we see Diane all the time,
Right.
So the first thing I did was like, oh my God, I have to tweet her and say congratulations because this is like something for her. So I'm really happy for her. And then Beyonce, that's a big deal. Yeah. Beyonce is nominated. It's for Be Alive, King Richard.
Right.
I know she said she wanted to do the music for it. I think I read she wanted to do the music for it, and then she talked to Will Smith, or Will Smith wanted her to do the music, and then I can't remember the exact connect.
But yeah, it's great to have her involved.
It's great to have her involved. It's great to have her do it. Everyone's already talking like, what's she going to wear? What's she going to have on? She's going to sing. She's going to perform. Because usually they have people perform at the Oscars.
Yeah.
So they're thinking, wow, this has got a really good chance.
Right.
Carole King's out in there now. There's a lot of the people that you normally get in, those type of artists. People are really, really hyped up for this.
Yeah.
It could be just basically because you know a lot of the people now in this category, where normally you wouldn't know, as opposed to the people that are nominated.
It'll be a great mix of performances.
People that are nominated for original score. It's a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
So it might be a little bit, interesting of what's going to happen with that music category.
And this isn't a dig or anything, but the Lopez's aren't there.
Yes, that's another one too. Yeah, that's great, to be nominated else, but you got to watch your competition.
Right.
You got to watch your competition, and you got to be, doing your, that kind of stuff. You have to, yeah.
Then the score, Don't Look Up, Dune, Encanto, Parallel Mothers, and The Power of the Dogs. That's another one of those 12 nominations. One thing too, Jan Zimmer did Dune, and I know that he was supposed to do another movie too, but then he couldn't do both, so he gave one of those to one of his friends. I want to say it's the Alexander Duplat.
Oh, really?
Or the Wes Anderson movie. I don't know if there was one that he couldn't do.
He usually does those. I think he usually does the Wes Anderson movies, and I'm surprised he keeps a nomination. I was very surprised he didn't get one.
I think it was
he must have been number 6 because he usually keeps a nomination.
Yeah, but I think it was really good for Hans Zimmer. Oh, and then one thing, Dune was a very popular movie.
Yes.
And so with this, 10 nominations, I think I said, that's fantastic. So good for them.
Yep.
And we got one more that we want to do, and that's the best picture of the year.
Okay.
Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, and Power of the Dog, and finally West Side Story.
So I know this year they made it that you can get now up to 10 pictures in the past.
Right.
So the last movie's only been 8, some kind of a voting system, but now they changed it so they make it 10.
Right.
Because they wanted to make sure more movies got in. Because
right.
people were saying there wasn't a lot of movies included. A lot of the,
Yeah, sometimes it was like 8.
8 and
because
all the main ones. Yeah.
One, yeah.
So what do you think?
I think that it's fantastic that they have the 10 categories. I'm very happy. Again, The Power of the Dog, directed by a woman. Very happy for that. Coda, the little engine that could, little movies that could. The thing that's interesting now, and I don't want to get into a big debate about it, but a lot of these movies you can see on your streaming. There's Warner Brothers and HBO have a lot of movies, and I know Dune was there at one point. King Richard was there at one point. They may still be there. And then a lot of these movies now are coming on video demand.
Yeah.
You can go there, and you can always go and try to support your local theater. If you feel safe, you can go and see. I don't know. I think I was just happy for all these movies. I did want to single out, though, King Richard, because Will Smith is one of the producers of that movie, and he made sure that movie got out. He made sure that movie got made. It's just fantastic. And for Venus and Serena Williams, it's a big triumph. The dad who did so much, to keep them out there. He's their coaches and stuff. And I just want to say, good for them.
And also, there's a thing where the movie got delayed during the pandemic. The movie got delayed during the pandemic. They had to do a lot of changes.
Right.
A lot of people were out of work with the pandemic and waiting on different stuff.
Right.
And a lot of the people that work on the crew and the cast was saying that he personally paid to keep them, kind of like on a retainer, kind of paid them.
Yeah.
Because he knew they would be hurting and to try to keep them back and keep the morale up so when the movie resumed. And that doesn't happen every day,
No, not at all.
And a lot of them, people could have got stuck in the middle somewhere. You're working and you're on this movie and you're depending on this income, that's your job. And then that's when, you're told we're closed up. You're going home and there's not, nothing coming in or whatever. So I thought that was really good. That was to make note of that. There's, I think even that movie had a little bit of, I think that movie's in the indication of playing the real people.
Right.
I think I read one of the Williams sisters, not Venus or Serena, isn't happy how she's portrayed because she's in the movie because she's her sister or something like that.
Right.
And they were saying some kind of, one of those not consulted or whatever, kind of issue and all that. So.
But you know how I say all the time too, when you have, especially with siblings, sometimes you're in the same house, you go up the same way, but you remember your experiences differently.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you feel like a certain way, or she's not the subject.
Yeah.
She's like a supporting person, and I don't want to speak for her or do anything like that, but there could be like a little bit of jealousy. There could be a little bit of, I thought I was going to have a bigger part, and I didn't. I thought I was going to do this, I was going to do this, and then again, Venus and Serena are producers on it with Will, so they ultimately probably had a say in what was shown, what wasn't shown, so it happens.
Yeah. I know we should say she was jealous.
No, I said I wasn't speaking for her.
Yeah.
I was just thinking.
Yeah. We really don't know. It might be just that she doesn't think it's accurate. Or it could be, because, they had a reality show, and they were all on there. Maybe there's some, and it may not be anything against Vince, or then again,
that's why I said I didn't want to speak for her.
It could be like, one of my favorite movies, The Temptation Story, where people are saying it wasn't that it wasn't true, just that they changed little bits and pieces to make it more juicier.
For drama.
And that happens. It happened with Ray.
Right.
That happened. They do it, it happens with a lot of movies.
Yeah.
And so I think people get kind of, when it's a personal story, people are more so concerned than when it's a fiction, when they change it around from the book or whatever.
Right.
Because we're dealing with real life and stuff like that too. So, but that's
Yeah.
What can you do?
I know. So, like you had said, the Oscars are March 27th at the Dolby, which is at Hollywood and Highland. That really, really nice theater. The Hollywood and Highland, if people don't know, they're doing a rehaul, making it a little bit different, updating it as such, but doing it so by the time we get to the Oscars, it might have a little bit of different little look or improvements and stuff. It was recently announced, all the major trades picked it up, Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Variety, etc., that the host of the Oscars, they're coming back from not having a host, and it will be Regina Hall, Amy Schumer, and Wanda Sykes. That is going to be great. A couple of times, and they're supposed to announce it live on Good Morning America tomorrow, but that's what everybody is hearing. That's what it's going to be. I think that they need a host. Yeah, they need comedians. I think it'd be great, and I think that the fact that it's 3 people, it takes away from the monotony of one person.
Yeah, and the pressure.
Yeah, and they can do some sketches and stuff. And I just remember when Maya and Amy? Maya Rudolph and Amy Poehler, when they did a little sketch as a thing I'm like, oh, these girls should host. And Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, they would host the Golden Globes, and I always thought it was funny, so I think it's a great choice to have them do it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. When they first came out with that, I wonder if they're doing it so they can go with funny and comedians, and they're trying to throw women in there, like they're trying to do women and comedians or whatever.
Oh, could be.
Like that too, because I thought when I was thinking the age differences and all that, I was thinking someone mentioned they should go with Selena Gomez and Steve Martin and
Martin Short,
because then you got the younger people with Selena, you got the women in there, you got the older people with them, and they didn't go with them. But that's that's the rumor. Who they're going to be having is these 3 ladies, and I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. I can't wait to see Wanda. Wanda's crazy.
Yeah, she is.
I love to follow her.
Yeah, and I think that not having a host for the last couple of times has been a little hard, or a little, a little disjointed. I know it's one of your favorite words, but I think it's kind of mesh it together, because you have like a certain theme, you have, certain, that movie lovers unite, whatever, have the theme of it, so I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's going to be something. I can't wait to dig more into some of these movies I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
And pick out which ones I think and which ones, It's going to be interesting. Yeah. I'm curious about a few of them.
So we'll probably come back, what do you say, like after SAG?
Yeah.
This Oscars, we will have seen almost all of them by that time, and we can have a better assessment and make our predictions about who we think is going to win. That'd be cool. So that's our
it's our podcast
for our Oscars.
That's our podcast for Oscars. Phyllis, where can we find you at?
You can find me on social media at Phyllis_Thomas or Phyllis S. Thomas. Yeah, I'm around. What about you, Belinda?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Belinda's LA Music. I'm always on there talking about music and movies and TV.
And Lionel Richie.
Who
has an Oscar.
Who actually has an Oscar. Lionel Richie, who has an Oscar. So he should be, since it's on Channel 7, and since it's ABC, Lionel Richie should be presenting at the Oscars.
But I don't think he will.
He should be performing at the Oscars. He won't perform, but he definitely should be presenting. That should be a no-brainer.
Yeah. But
I guess every season should be a no-brainer.
You can see him every week when American Idol starts again on, February 27th?
Because February 27th, yeah. February 27th on ABC. And that's it. Taking us out today, we got a song. We got a great original song.
Woohoo!
And it's called Eden. It's by our friends, John Morgan, Dave Sibiak.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. Take care.
Go see a movie.